I actually just listened to the Tooth and Nail podcast that you guys were on.
Oh, yeah. With, we all talked about the old crap.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of funny listening to it because I was like, all this shit's on the DVD.
Yeah,
all of it is.
The only thing that was somewhat cool about it is like now that none of us like hate each other.
Right. Yeah, you can have.
It was kind of nice to have like a different dynamic, like actually having Jesse on with us.
Right.
Actually, what it did do is possibly prompt us, because we've talked about doing a ZAO podcast for a while just for fun.
Yeah.
But what we might do is do a like record commentary podcast.
Okay.
To where like, we'd put like Liberate, it'd be playing behind us, and then we would like talk about all the funny stuff or like technical stuff or songwriting stuff, like everything that like pops into our heads from the songs we're listening to. Kind of like have everybody that was on the record talk about doing the record while it's playing. So like,
that'd be cool.
Yeah. Cause I'd like, even Russ was mad because he's like, dude, Brett said he wrote Lies of Serpents without me. That's totally bullshit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's like asking about something that happened so long ago, but at the same time, it's like, you remember that shit. Like I remember, I remember the first band I was in, and if somebody just threw something out like, oh yeah, we wrote the whole song by ourselves and, in a basement in 10 minutes, I'd be like, dude, that's horseshit. I was there the whole time. It took us 3 days, like.
My favorite part was when he said he couldn't remember if he was in the band in 97, 98, or 99.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be like, Liberate came out at the very beginning of 99, dude.
Right.
Like,
well, that stuff's all been done so much before, and I'm sure you get really tired of hearing all the same fucking questions. Did you guys really break up on stage?
Yeah.
There's a video on YouTube.
It's still relevant today.
Yeah, it's 3.5 hours long. Have fun.
Right. Yeah, it's just stupid. But yeah, that's why we kind of just do what we do, and we're like, hey, let's talk about this band. It'll be cool. It doesn't have to be weird. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, guys. Tonight on Three Tired Guys.
This one activates the pit.
Yeah.
Oh, that actually might be my intro here.
There you go.
What is that playing?
Oh, that's our theme music.
Oh, nice.
I'm surprised you can hear it. I've heard sometimes people say they hear it like a faint sound in the background, but
yeah, I can hear it pretty good.
All right, I'm going to take a deep breath and just see what I can do here.
You got this.
And if you've taken the night off from reassembling household appliances, then you are ready for this episode of Discography Discussion. I am Joe. That is Dan. This is Scott Mellinger of ZAO. Scott's back, Dan. How do you feel about that?
I feel really tired, but excited all at the same time.
Yes, agreed.
Well, welcome back, Scott. We're not gonna keep you for 3.5, 4 hours like we did last time. That was our fanboy out episode. So
well, that was fun, though. I had fun. I'm glad to have done it.
It was a ton of fun. Jeff apologizes for not being here tonight, but his wife was sick, so we didn't have time to. I wasn't gonna be like, hey man, I know we've rescheduled this like 12 times, but hey, 13's a charm.
Better do it, dude, or you're out.
Right, you're out of the circle. We're never responding to your messages again. Yeah.
So who are we talking about tonight, Dan?
We're talking about Carcass.
Carcass is finally happening on Discography Discussion?
It is.
With Scott Mellinger.
Yeah, we actually had this planned. Well, actually, it's funny because I originally texted Travis because we hadn't had Travis on in a while. And I was
he told me what you guys might be doing. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's gonna be like a week-long discussion, though.
Yeah, probably. I was actually texting him earlier today too about that. He's like, if you guys would have had me on there, it would have been like, I liked half of Heartwork once. Podcast over. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Yeah, I make no joke about that. I started off listening to like Christian music, and so people are always like, what are you doing listening to a band like Carcass? And the asshole response is always, I do whatever the hell I want. But it originally started with, I was really, into ZAO. And I remember every time I would read a review for a ZAO CD, they always said that Dan's vocals sounded like Jeff Walker of Carcass.
Mm-hmm. Purposely.
Right. And so I was like, well, what's this all about? You know, there's another band that sounds awesome like this. And so I started checking out Carcass. And luckily for me, the first couple of records I listened to were Necrotism and Heartwork, which was a really good place to start with the band. If I had picked the wrong album, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You know, like it was rough. And it's funny, too, because whenever I listened to it, I was like, well, I mean, yeah, you know, him and Dan both have a high-pitched, you know, growly, raspy vocal, but they don't sound alike.
Yeah. I think Dan definitely was inspired by it, but Dan kind of created his own thing. But it's cool, too, because, like, a lot of the, like, because Dan was kind of inspired by bands that were playing around our area at the time. Right. And a lot of the, like, everybody was listening to Carcass. I was listening to Carcass, like, even before I joined ZAO, so... Because it was what Heartwork was like 91 or 92?
93.
93, yeah.
93, okay. So yeah, 93 I was like doing the other band that like ever got heard in my career or whatever.
Is that Creation is Crucifixion?
Yeah, we were doing it, and all of us like loved Heartwork. We actually covered or tried to cover Embodiment, I think was the song.
Okay, that's a cool song.
Yeah, it's a good. Heartwork is a full record. It's just awesome. But we're not even close to that one yet. So go ahead.
Yeah. So they started off. I think what was it, Joe, in 1989? It was Reek of Putrefaction.
1988, depending on what you look at.
Is it Putrefaction or Putrefaction? Because I've said it both ways, but
it looks like it's spelled Putrefaction.
That's the way I always read it.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's a pile of shit either way.
Yeah, I can't do that record.
It's you know, and it's weird too because I was telling Jeff and Joe this all week that like I want so badly to like an album where the opening song is called Genital Grinder.
Yeah,
you know, like I feel like
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I feel like that's an album that I should love. You know. I mean, it's really cool for, like, if you don't know somebody that well. Like, let's say you're going on, like, a work trip or something, and you just really want to freak somebody out, you know? And you're like, hey, you put some tunes on? Yeah, man, what do you listen to? Oh, I listen to, like, classic metal. I listen to 80s metal because, you know, 1988. And so you pop this fucker in, and you just let it go for, like, 10 minutes. You don't say anything to the person that's in the car. You just gotta look over at them, and just whatever reaction they have, it's like pure gold. And that's really like the most experience I have with this record. And that like I used to pop it in just to kind of see what people would say.
Before we get too far into what people are going to say about this pile of shit, I'm going to take some time to say thank you for listening to this podcast. Thank you for listening and for subscribing. If you are not a subscriber, you can find everything Discography Discussion at discussmetal.com. We are on Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, so if you have an Amazon Echo or a Google Home, you have no excuse. Ask it to play the latest episode of Discography Discussion podcast, and it will. We're also on Facebook and on Twitter at Discuss Metal. Be sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. It really helps us out. It lets us know you're listening. And now Dan is going to tell us all about 5-star reviews.
We like 5-star reviews on Discography Discussion, but if you don't feel like we deserve 5 stars, that's okay too. Just leave us a review. We want to hear from you guys. If there's something that we're really sucking at, you definitely let us know. Privately, preferably, but you know, if you got to do it publicly, then you just do it, man. But we're also you can also leave us reviews directly on our Facebook page at Facebook/discussmetal.
Discography Discussion on Facebook.
Oh yeah, sorry. Freudian slip. And another thing that we're doing right now to kind of try to, you know, pay our podcast bills, so to speak, is whenever we talk about a band's discography, usually what we're doing now is, as part of the Amazon.com affiliate links program, we are actually providing specialized links from us for you to purchase these albums on Amazon.com. If you buy an album, we get like a little bit of money from that, and it really helps us out. So if you're planning on buying the record anyway, just click on one of those links and help us out a little bit. It's just icing on the cake.
And now Scott is going to tell us all about the well-intentioned virus again.
No, he did that already. How about Pyrrhic Victory, man?
Oh, Pyrrhic Victory.
Well, what do you want me to tell you?
Buy it. Buy all of it.
Buy it now.
Go buy it, because if you buy it, I can actually feed my family.
Yeah, you guys can't see him on video right now, but I mean, he's like, I mean, that cardboard box does not look big.
It's so, I mean, in the winter, it's doing wreaking havoc to it.
Yeah, like that's rough.
Is that why your dryer exploded, Scott? You were trying to heat the house?
Jim was trying to heat the cardboard box, and it just didn't work.
But no, dude, I Pure Victory is fucking great. By the way,
Thank
I
you.
got that. I mean, I had it pre-ordered and all that shit. I'm not gonna lie and be like, yeah, I just happened to hear it. No, I got the red vinyl and
yeah, I love the red. I love it. Actually, like every variation we did, like the smoke one and the red one, are two of my favorites that we've done.
Well, and as much of a vinyl junkie as I pretend like I am, I'm a total dipshit when it comes to picking the right speed to play the records on. So, like, I've still got it set at, like, 33. And so I put that fucker on, and I was like, when the hell did ZAO go doom metal? You know, I was like, what the hell is going on here? So then I kick it up to 45, and it's like, Brr! And I was like, oh, shit, it's this Chipmunk ZAO. Oh, man. Okay. And then I went all the way down to the right speed. I was like, oh, okay, we're good. No, that was really cool, man. I thought it was a really good length. And... just really, really punchy in your face. If you guys haven't checked this EP out, definitely check it out. It's a really good, as far as I know, a really good preview of things to come. And ZAO is not slowing down anytime soon.
No, actually, drums are being edited as we speak for the next batch of things we're doing. So yeah,
always good news.
I feel like we're in on the joke now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, dude, we've been done with this shit for years. you know that 8-9 years we were quote unquote gone. Yeah, we actually released we recorded 7 albums in that time period.
Dude, it feels like, I mean, we just don't. I think what happened, there's just such a backlog because we took all that time off. So
right.
I don't want to act like I'm Mr. Cool writing songs all the time, but we have a good backlog of songs, and yeah, now we're gearing up for the next stuff. Probably new full lengths would more than likely be 2019.
Sounds good to me. We'll be all over
that. And I think if you're a vinyl dude, I think there's some happenings going on in the vinyl world for us too. So we're excited.
I recently found out about the vinyl release of Funeral of God.
Yeah, we're trying to work all that stuff out. We're still kind of in the process of getting everything solidified, but it looks like we're going to be able to do that, and then our biggest hope is to be able to finally put Fear on vinyl, which is where it was supposed to be in the first place. So.
Yeah,
bravo.
It's gonna be great.
I'm just excited for that Steve Peck vinyl that I get to buy.
And he's such a big fan.
I know, right? I feel like we went over this already once.
We did. Well, I'm just trying to avoid talking about Rika putrefaction.
All right, Dan, tell me about Carcass and Rika putrefaction. Let's get that out of the way as well.
All right. Well, I'm not going to read like a Wikipedia page, but Carcass started off as like a grindcore, death metal kind of band. And I'm going to say grindcore because, like, to me, grindcore is just Napalm Death. Mm-hmm. And I don't really listen to a whole lot of other grindcore. Like, I listen to shit like Pig Destroyer and stuff, but it's not really quite the same thing. But, but for some reason, like, Napalm Death did it for me, and Carcass didn't. And it could just, I mean, don't get me wrong. Stuff. It's not like Scum by Napalm Death is a masterpiece, but, like, I don't know. Like that record had a lot of like punk energy. Mm-hmm. This just sounds like a bunch of dudes in a fucking garbage can, like playing like as fast as they can. Like it's literally like whoever gets to the end of the song first wins. And the vocals are just like, hey guys, I bought this really neat pedal that like I can run my voice through. And, you know, it sounds really sick and stuff, right? Like, let's record this. Let's do, like, an hour of just this. And, like, I think it's going to be really good.
20 songs and 40 minutes later.
Jesus. Yeah.
I mean, some of that record honestly sounds like there's a playing a joke on you.
Right, yeah. It is. It's like, holy shit. Like, it's not even funny. Like, when Napalm Death did the "You Suffer" song, it was like "You Suffer." That's the whole song. Like that was funny.
Yeah, it was funny,
it's like it's a 1 second long. They're making fun of themselves, you know. But then like this is just like I can't tell if they're fucking with me or if they're like dead serious. And I can't help but feel like with the rest of their records in consideration that like it's a little bit of both. I think like half the band was serious, but the rest of them were just like, I didn't have anything to do this Thursday, so... And so, yeah, the vocals sound like asshole, and I know a lot of that's intentional, and it's weird because there are an uncomfortable amount of people in the world that think that this is the best Carcass.
Yeah, I know. Actually, one of my good buddies is a big early Carcass guy. Yeah, this one's just I mean I'm game. I'm game for anything. This is definitely not for me.
They're definitely guilty on this record and the next of the inhaled guttural vocal sin.
Yep.
Which is, it's a funny noise that you made with your throat, but you're not saying anything, and no matter how many lyrics you put on paper, you're not saying anything.
They are actually saying things. I don't know about on Rika Putrefaction, but on Symphonies of Sickness, there are actual, like, you can, if you have a lot of time and patience and, like, literally nothing better to do, you can sit down with the lyrics and go through them.
Kind of map them out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you would.
I've got heart work. I don't have to do that.
Yeah, so we're just gonna move into symphonies if that's cool with you guys.
I was so hoping you would say that. Symphonies of Sickness, 1989.
Yeah, so it's a year later, and this is interesting actually to me. This record sounds like Rika Putrefaction. Except every 5 songs, they just grouped them together and, like, this is the song.
Yeah.
You know? And really the best part of this record to me is the guitar solos.
Yeah.
You mean there's actually guitar solos?
There's really good guitar solos in this record.
Really good ones.
And they have names. Like, if you read through the lyric book, again, I don't know why you would, but if you did, you would see that all of the solos have, like, this, like... have these weird names of like it was like cacophonous degradation of the, you know, like it was just weird shit that they threw in there. And it's weird too because the production quality on this record, like this sounds like a legit record, but it's still the same band that recorded Rika Putrefaction playing on it. So it's like, what the fuck is this?
And dude, they just, I mean, their song titles are just so awesome.
Vomited anal
like you
tract.
want to like the record so much because of those song titles.
Right. Well, it's kind of like with Cannibal Corpse. Like that's like the most enjoyable thing about that band, right? It's the song titles, you know. And it's one of those weird, like with Carcass, it's like the song titles are cool, but like it's like they take it too far. Like if you read the lyrics, it's very like all like medical terminology of like. I'm cutting open this body and here's all the scientific names of the organs that I'm, you know, taking out and eating or fucking or whatever, you know, like it's weird. And then, you know, if you know anything about Carcass, you know that the lead singer, Jeff Walker, diehard vegan.
Yeah.
So then you're like, are they trying to make some kind of social commentary on like what they're talking about in the songs is like no different than us going to Hardee's, you know?
I don't think he's ever said that, but maybe that's the plan all along.
Possible. Definitely.
Kind of like Tom Araya being Catholic in Slayer. Like the plan all along was to not be Satan worshippers.
I'm
having ICP flashbacks, Dan.
Right.
You know what I mean, right?
Right, yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, right. So, it's just one of those weird things where it's like, I don't know what to make of these two records. Like, I know they exist, and I feel like I had to buy them because I had all the other Carcass records. You know, it's like that conundrum of, do I actually spend real money on this?
And never, ever listen to it?
Never listen to it. Unless like 10 years later, you're going to do a podcast where you've created this set of rules that forces you to listen to shit that you really don't want to listen to.
Yeah, I didn't go down that road. I just bought the ones that I knew I'd listen to.
Well,
I feel your pain sometimes.
Well, it's that whole collectability thing. You know, I collect. When I was younger, I collected music when I was younger, but I collected mostly like video games and.
I do that. I still do that sometimes with this crap, but
yeah, I just actually found an SNES Classic Edition
Those are kind of tough to come by right now.
At a Best Buy tonight, I found it.
Wow.
I went in to get something else, and then I saw it, and I was like, well, I guess I have to get it because I'm not going to ever see it again. And that's what they want me to think. And yeah, I picked that thing up. I'll be going to town on that later tonight. Which, and by going to town, I mean I'm going to get like 2 levels into Super Mario World and then fall asleep on the couch. Yeah, that's how I party. So but no, yeah. So like the collectability is why I have these records, you know. And I remember like being kind of pumped up for it because I think the first record I heard by them, it was either Heartwork or it was Necrotism, and I liked both of those records.
Yeah, the Necrotism, definitely the next one is way more
like real
down
music.
my alley. Yeah, like way better to me.
But Symphonies is longer, I think, than Reek is. And, like, it's a little bit better. Like, I mean, I know I'm shitting on it a lot, but, like, it is a little bit musically better to my ears, you know, than Reek of Putrefaction, which was, like, a little bit more punk, like, grindcore, I guess. And Symphonies, it almost seemed like they were trying to play, like, more of a death metal, like, a little bit more structured sound, and obviously had a better studio.
I'll give them this credit. They learned how to mix in stereo.
Yep.
Well, the big thing, and this is one of my favorite things about Carcass, is Colin Richardson was the guy that mixed those records, or the next one. Because I don't know who did Reek, but Symphonies of Sickness was like the beginning of the Colin Richardson Carcass era, which that dude is just, oh my gosh, if I don't even know. I remember when ZAO first started, I mean, we were pretty happy and we were going to a guy named Barry Pointer, and we didn't really want to not go to him, but like Colin Richardson would be one that I would have loved to work with, because dude, even later on, I mean, he did some of the better Machine Head records and stuff, like not the Burning Red like earlier,
right?
Earlier Machine Head.
Oh man, don't listen to our Machine Head episode. No, we haven't done that one yet.
Yeah, but yeah, Colin Richardson definitely, like, I loved his, especially, I mean, we'll get to how good he got, but whatever.
Yeah. So these records are like, I mean, if this is your bag, great, but like I can't in good conscience like recommend them. I mean, totally click on our affiliate link and buy it so we get the money. But yeah, besides that, I can't like give them a huge thumbs up. So unless you have something else to say about it, Joe, I think we need to just jump right into Necrotism.
I think if I had a choice between listening to this and rewatching all the Hellraiser movies, I would just keep watching Hellraiser.
All right, fair enough.
That's just me.
Random, but I like it.
I feel like I'm listening to Hellraiser when I listen to these. It just sounds like
you think this is what Pinhead listens to, Symphony of Sickness?
It could be.
It could be.
He's so monotone, though. I always kind of figured he'd listen to like a lot of The Cure, you know, just very like drab, you know, depressing music. I feel like he'd be more of like a psychopath killer, like a Jason Voorhees or something, if he listened to nothing but old Carcass.
Well, remember, dude, it's not hands that call us; it's desire.
Right.
And I believe that we are all trying really hard not to just move on to the next record.
All right.
I know.
I know. We're like known for these like 3-hour podcasts, and I'm just like, yeah, these
all right, so Necrotism.
Yeah. Well, dude, it doesn't really start, in my opinion, until that one. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I like the way this record starts off. I mean, you're already kind of out of that weirdness that you had on the first 2 records, and Necrotism kind of comes out of the gate. It's got all these weird sound clips, which I'm a huge sucker for that. And just talking about like dead bodies and stuff, which, you know, granted that's Carcass, you know, and like dead bodies and just all these weird like autopsy reports and stuff. And then it kicks into, because I think the first song is called Impropagate. Is that, or is it Propagate? Impropagation. Okay.
There you go. Yep.
As soon as you hear that opening guitar and just the drums kicking in, like, and then Jeff Walker starts singing, and it's just him.
Yeah, without all the stupid effects and crap.
It sounds cool. Like,
yeah,
dude, you know, like, where the hell was that on the other 2 records? I mean, it was in there, but it was buried under a pile of shit. And I mean, he's still spouting like nonsense. I mean, I can't. it's not that I can't understand extreme vocals, but the stuff that he's saying, the words are so complicated and unfamiliar to me that it's really hard to really get into. But this record was like there were actually like melodies being played. It wasn't as melodic as it would get on the next record, but it was definitely different. And I remember thinking like, okay, this is a band that I could actually like listen to and enjoy and not have to like have any weird reservations for.
Yeah, this record would be something that I would definitely offer to people and not feel bad about it at all.
Right. You're like, here guys, you should buy this. You'll totally be into it. Because you got to think, if you're selling like Reek of Putrefaction to somebody at a show, like, because I guarantee they probably sounded better live than they did on that record.
Yeah, they had to.
You have to, right?
Yeah.
And so then, you give them this record, you're like, here, you check this out, take it home, listen to it, make sure all your family members are around. And, it's like, yeah, you give that to somebody, and you think half the people you sold this record to are going to throw it in the trash.
Or, as soon as they demand their money back, probably.
Right. But Necrotism is, it's not like that, man.
Nope. No, it's good, man. I actually own that one.
Yeah, that one's really good. I actually have coming in the mail, it's like the Earache's doing all these reissues where they're doing like the full dynamic range editions. Oh, okay. And,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I've already got the Heartwork one, and the Necrotism one's coming, but it's like shipping from like UK or something. But
okay.
But yeah, that I've noticed that these full dynamic range releases sound really good, to the point where like, because if you listen to like, if you're listening on like Apple Music or Spotify or something, usually it gives you the option to listen to the quote original version,
okay,
versus the full dynamic range. And there is a noticeable difference because like there's a lot of like really weird fake loudness on the standard editions.
Okay.
And you're kind of like, man, I guess this sounds really cool if you're like blasting it in the car, but like if you're sitting in your house or whatever, you would have to like get up and constantly adjust the knobs on your stereo, every time a song came on. And with the full dynamic range, it kind of takes that away,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I don't think I've listened to one of those.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're doing a whole lot of like they did recently Entombed. They did like Left Hand Path and Clandestine. Like they did both of those records. Which I don't know if you're into Entombed or not, but
oh, I love, yeah.
This shit's way better than this. But I'm not saying it to shit on Carcass, because like this Necrotism is a record that I definitely took seriously. And you didn't have a problem with it. I mean, the lyrics were still kind of like, okay, we get it. Like you guys are either really fucked up or you're trying to make some kind of weird statement about like how we shouldn't eat meat, and but they didn't really spell that out, like Earth Crisis did, and so
actually, now that I'm just being dumb and looking around, it does look like Jeff Walker was like in this weird Hunt Saboteur thing.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah,
like where it was a direct thing to get for animal rights and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're like sitting here talking about, oh, they're probably, yeah, and they did. Okay, that's cooler.
I wonder what that looks like on the day to day, right? Like, are you like, let's say you're out like bow hunting or something, right? And you're like lining up your shot, and everything's going really well, and then before you know it, like Jeff Walker from Carcass just jumps out and like throws your bow on the ground, tells you to go fuck yourself, and walks off. Like,
I think we know how to get an interview.
Yeah. If we can ever get Jeff Walker on the show, he can go into what the day to day of being a hunt saboteur really is.
I was gonna say we should just go hunting and wait for him to show up.
Go hunting, wait for him to show up. Hey, while you're here,
it would be amazing if that was like his superpower. Well, I mean, I guess his vocals are superpower.
They are.
He could just kind of like him and Ricky Gervais could both come and stop you from killing poor defenseless animals.
Right. That's so funny to think about.
To the theme of Ultraman.
But yeah, to the theme of Necrotism. But yeah, I really like this one. I like the song Corporal Jigsore Quandry. Yeah, I just said that out loud.
I know. I'm surprised you're able to freaking say the names.
Yeah.
He's holding it together.
I'm trying to. This is a great record, and I wish there was more I could say about it because it's really good, but it's also kind of remembered by me as the album that wasn't Heartwork.
I know, it's such a like that record's just, it's so good. It like really does pummel everything else. But yeah, I'm still with you here.
It's fantastic, and I definitely don't have any issues with necrotism, discanting the insalubrious.
Yeah. I'm glad you tried that one.
Yeah, it's all right. If it's really, really, really bad, Joe can just make it to where I never said it.
Scott Mellinger, tell me about Heartwork.
Well, Heartwork for me was legitimately probably my the first real death metal record that I couldn't get enough of. Because I mean, I dabbled in a bunch of stuff, and Heartwork came out, and it was everything. It was just everything I wanted in that kind of music. Like, it was clear, you could understand it. It was so heavy, and the vocals were everything was just so catchy, like weirdly catchy. But like, it was like this record and Morbid Angel's Domination that I think I could literally ruined CDs, both of these records. But yeah, Heartwork, legitimately, ZAO would not exist without Carcass Heartwork, I don't think.
I know for me, this is the start of the band that I know.
Yep. Yeah.
I hadn't heard Necrotism until recently, and I definitely hadn't listened to the first two records in a long time. And prepping up for this podcast, I remembered why. They're just not good.
Yeah.
I have a hard time saying nice things about grindcore other than it's good grindcore or it's bad grindcore. If you asked me what a good grindcore is, I would say pretty much not Ganglia. But then we get to this. This is death metal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if everything up till this point was, all right, guys, we need to do this for real, or if there was just a change in the attitude, but this is as good as any heavy metal record in the early 90s.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this record to me should be in the same, if you're going to talk legendary metal records, you can put this up there with Master of Puppets and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because it really was the first death metal record to open that style of music to a bigger audience, I think. I don't think, everything that's going on today, I don't think would happen without Heartwork. It just wouldn't.
No, and I hear a lot of influence from Heartwork on the European metal scene.
Oh yeah.
Because this was right before that we had that Scandinavian death metal explosion. Mm-hmm. You started getting stuff like Entombed and Carnage and,
Well, yeah, I would argue, I mean, I love Entombed, but I don't think, you get some of those incredible Entombed records without this stuff,
No,
Wolverine Blues, when did that come out? It was after Heartwork,
It was after Heartwork, yeah. I think.
Yeah, so,
I want to say it was right after, though. I think Wolverine Blues was 94?
Maybe.
Same year.
Yep.
Oh,
Wolverine Blues
year.
came out in October.
Okay.
Well, it was almost like Carcass was look, you can be a death metal band and still write catchy tunes. And then Entombed was just okay, we're just going to do that, and we're going to do it awesome too. So.
And then they ended up having a little bit more illustrious of a career.
Yeah.
But yeah, Heartwork can't be denied because the thing that struck me about it was that it was just so melodic when it didn't have to be. At a time when nobody was expecting to hear super melodic, almost emotional guitar solos and stuff. You didn't really get that. There's a solo in the song Carnal Forge that makes the hair stand up on my arms. It's the first solo, and it's just so it's almost has a cheesy 80s metal sheen to it, but it's still death metal, and so it still feels relevant to me even all these years later. When I listen to it, I'm this is some seriously aggressive shit.
Oh yeah.
But it makes me feel good while I'm listening to it. You know, that's not why you listen to a band like Carcass, but here it is. You know, like.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, I've always felt too like the way I play is really like seeing a band like Carcass with Bill Steer and Amat. I mean, they had so much like bluesiness to their solos. Like they weren't just like straight like sweepy noodly guys. They were like note selectors too. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause you have a lot of guys that are just so fast that you can't even. It's cool, whatever. It's fast and it's boring after like a bar because it's the same thing. But like I've always been way more attuned to like a little more bluesier play, like where you have some of that speed, but you also, like you're talking about, have some emotion in like the notes you bend and stuff, and those guys were so good at it.
Yeah.
Well, you can sweep pick all day long with this style of music and everybody will think you're amazing, but then you know, I know when I'm writing a solo, it's always approached from a jazz perspective where, okay, I'm not going to play a sweep pick and call it a technique. It's a skill, it's a trick, it's a certain sound that I might employ, but I'm going to start building the solo around the emotion. And actually,
well, dude, that's like I've had arguments with people about but like my whole thing with like people that can play really fast and do all the sweep picking is just, it's unbelievable and it's great for them, but it really is a skill. Once you know how to do it, you can do it.
Absolutely.
It's a lot harder to write a good solo. And if you can add those, like you're saying, add like the little tricks of the trade of like the sweeps, which is what those guys can do, but then they write, like you're almost writing a whole vocal pattern. So it's that, to me, is where your talent comes in, when you're like a solo's actually written well and heart work, like every solo on every song is just awesome.
I actually had a fun time this week. I was between listens, it'd be Heart Work and then Painkiller by Judas Priest, and I just kept going back and forth for the past 3 days because I had already listened to all the records. And that was an interesting combination to come back to, and completely polar opposite in the vocal structure.
Yeah. Dude, Painkiller. Oh, that song. That we actually, if we do a cover record, I think Jeff was talking about trying to cover Painkiller.
Who's going to sing on that?
I don't know. That's every time we talk about doing a cover record, because like I want to do like Pink Floyd songs and weird stuff, and but we always got to figure out how we can pull that off if it works. There's like a Yes song we want to do that might actually be unbelievable if we could pull it off, but who knows?
Right.
Is it Heart of the Sunrise?
Which one is it? Actually,
I thought I had him, and he was like, "You fucker."
Is it? I think it. How does Heart of the Sunrise go?
That's the last song on the Roundabout record. Yep, that's Heart of the Sunrise. The very last track on the Roundabout record.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forget the song title. I'm gonna die. What the heck?
We're all tired.
Yeah, it is Heart of the Sunrise. That is the one we were going to cover. Yes.
Boom!
That's a lot of good guessing this week.
I think that means I need a copy of it before anyone else, Scott.
I can do it. I'll do it.
I think we're starting to freak people out a little bit because earlier this week I posted a clip on Facebook. I was just shopping for vinyl, and I like to pull up YouTube and listen to records, you know, while I'm doing that, just to get an idea. And I was listening to the Damn the Machine record. I don't know if you've heard Damn the Machine or not, Scott, but it was a project by Chris Poland. And
I know what you're talking about.
I just posted it on Facebook just randomly, like, hey, I like this record. You guys should check it out too. So I get a text from Trav like today at like noon, and he goes, "You've got to be fucking kidding me." And I'm like, what? he goes, do you know who I'm scheduled to talk to tonight? And I was like, no. And he was like, and I was like, is it Chris Poland? And he's like, yes. And I was like, I don't know, dude. Crazy. I don't know, man. That's just some crazy coincidence. Like, I had no idea.
That's a preview for the As the Story Grows podcast that Travis didn't pay for.
Right. Yeah, so check that out, guys, when that happens.
No, dude, he's so excited about that. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, it was so funny because he's like, you know who I'm talking to tonight? And I was like, well, it better not be Scott because he's talking to us tonight. Yeah.
And then he goes, no, I'm gonna 8,000 up you. It's freaking a real dude that was in a real band.
I know, right? Like, it's like, holy shit. But yeah, no, actually, he it's so funny. The last couple of bands, like, is like, I pretty much go to podcasts now whenever I check out new bands because, like, since we started doing our podcast, dude, I get so many, like, you guys should listen to this band. You guys should listen to this band. You guys should listen to that band. And it's, like, really impossible to keep up with that. And so a lot of the time I'm like, okay, well, you know, I might check it out. I might not, you know, and move on from there. So, like, when I'm listening to his podcast and he introduces a new band, like, literally two of the bands that he had on, I just, like, one band I just bought their record. I didn't make any communication with them whatsoever other than I just bought their record. And then another band, I asked them a bunch of questions because their record wasn't out. Within like 3 days, like, they're like, hey, saw you have a podcast. Can we? And I'm like, yeah, dude, let's schedule it out. You know, like, but
wow.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Just crazy how this year's been, because, like, when we started off in like January, and, like, nobody was listening to our shit, you know. Like,
oh, dude, it's hard, and people, it does take a while, but man, once you get it, it's good.
Right. This has been tons of fun, but with Heartwork, man, weird transition.
Getting back on track now.
Sorry, my mind wanders, but no, with Heartwork, man, like, songs like No Love Lost, Carnal Forge, Embodiment. I mean, those songs
I love Embodiment. Like, yeah, just all killer songs. I can pronounce all the names of the songs. That's a big one. Yeah, this record just slays. And, like, you've got to think, in 1993, this record's come out, and you just listen to the whole thing, and you're thinking, holy shit. Yeah. Like, I'm never going to hear a record better than this. Well, dude, it like legitimately would, like, if Carcass Heartwork came out today, it would be one of the best records still.
Oh yeah, it'd be the same. So yeah, same reaction.
Yeah, like it's such a good, long-standing, and it doesn't sound dated at all to me.
No, it still sounds modern, especially because, like, yeah, like I was saying earlier about how it kind of spearheaded that, like, melodic Scandinavian metal. Yeah, so, like, from that scene, you started off with stuff like Carnage and, like, God Macabre and, like, Entombed and that sort of stuff, and then that gave birth to stuff like In Flames and Dark Tranquility and At the Gates and, like, that kind of stuff. And then, you know, whenever metalcore was developing in the United States, you know, they're, like, at some point, and I'm going to actually say it because it probably had a lot to do with Blood and Fire coming out when it did. You know, taking that kind of, you know, overseas European metal influence. I mean, I know other bands were doing it, but ZAO was probably the first one that I heard that was doing that. And that, you know, eventually that gave birth to your, like, you know, Killswitch Engage, As I Lay Dying, Unearthed kind of bands that were basically playing melodic death metal with hardcore breakdowns, you know? And
well, dude, I mean, yeah, like Carcass, and I would say people probably took Carcass, Entombed, and At the Gates, and that's pretty much metal core, you know?
Oh yeah.
We kind of tended on the more Carcassy side, and then you had bands like Darkest Hour and those type of that were doing more of the At the Gates, like punk kind of faster stuff. But yeah, everybody was influenced by that stuff for sure.
And I tie all that back to Heartwork. It was the first time that you could have your death metal and eat it too, so to speak. You know, like you could start throwing death metal records up against classic heavy metal albums like Painkiller. And, you know, you've actually got something there. And even the old school metalheads that may not be into the vocals are going to listen to it and be like, that's a sweet riff, that's a sweet solo, that's a, you know, like all the ingredients were there. So what the hell happened between 1993 and 1996 with this band?
I really don't. I'm sure there was some, like, inner band struggles, probably, obviously, because was that when Amat left to go do?
Amat was very scarce in Carcass. With as much as he's credited, I mean, he came on during Heartwork, and I don't know if Amat actually played on Heartwork.
I thought he.
It sounds like him, but I've read in other places where they've said that like Steer actually did everything on Heartwork, and that Amat only contributed like one solo. Like he was there for the recording process, or no? I mean, he was there for the writing process,
but he didn't like actually record.
Yeah, and I think he only recorded like a few solos, like here and there. But I mean, he helped write the songs. He toured with the band, so I mean, he deserves all the credit that he gets. But I think I also remember reading something, and a lot of this stuff's out of old magazines, and I'm trying to remember the best I can because I don't want to be that guy that's like, well, Wikipedia says, you know. So I remember reading that like Bill Steer basically just got really sick of metal. Which, I mean, I would imagine that the amount of success that they got at Heartwork was probably, like, mind-blowing in comparison to what they had done before. So they probably toured on that fucker forever.
Oh, I bet, dude. Absolutely.
You know, there's nobody in the audience now that's like, play Genital Grinder, you know. So, like, it's all Heartwork all the time.
Well, maybe one guy.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's all Heartwork all the time, and I know that like they'd said that Bill Steer was just so sick of metal and that he was so tired of how much work it was to record a Carcass album, because one thing that we haven't talked about yet is that how much guitar layering there is on the Carcass records all the way up through Heartwork. And like if Bill Steer legitimately did all of that by himself, that shit has got to be exhausting.
Yeah, that's a job, dude. I know how much, I mean, we layer here and like maybe 2 or 3 guitars on a side, and that's like painstaking. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, like even on Necrotism or even on Symphonies of Sickness, there's so many guitars on there, and Heartwork has it a lot too. That whenever they did Swan Song, they were like, well, we're just going to strip it down. We're going to do, guitar on each side, lead solos, that's it. And I remember them saying that they were trying to mix it like a Thin Lizzy record, which I'm like, yeah, that's really cool if you're not death metal,
Yeah.
That's really thin.
It is, and that's the word I would use to describe Swan Song, is really thin and very like, let's play rock and roll, but with Jeff Walker doing whatever it is he does over the songs, and it sounds weird. Like
it really does.
Like, I mean, I guess in a certain, like if I was up my own ass enough, I could say that like, oh well, it was experimentation, and it was a critique of the death metal scene, and that they wanted to bring things back to a point and show that whatever. Like, I can't even bring a good point out of it. Like, it's just, the songs are just like, they just wrote like a bunch of rock songs and we're like, okay, Jeff, go ahead and you're gonna be the only thing death metal about this release. And like there's like cowbell and shit all on this record, and I don't know what to say about it. And there's days that I like it, kind of like I'll hear it, like I'll hear a song coming in my shuffle or whatever, I'm like, all right, it's catchy, it's melodic, but it's not fucking Heartwork, dude.
Yeah, that's, for that to be the follow-up to Heartwork, I think that even makes it probably as bad as it is to me.
3 years for that,
Yeah.
After they'd recorded basically the best album ever, like,
yep. Yeah.
There was no slow decline there, because how you kind of see bands start to go downhill over the course of their career. Like they'll start off kind of bad. Like most bands, it's like you start off kind of bad, you hit a certain peak, which is going to be like your Heartwork. But like you would have expected like two albums to have come out in between Heartwork and Swan Song, showing the band kind of devolve into that style.
Well, especially at that point, they were putting out an album every year.
Yeah, every 1 or 2 years, and this is 3 years, and you got to think 2 of that's touring on Heartwork.
That's not the worst thing I've ever heard. It's weird, but
well, it's not Rika Putrefaction. But
yeah, I would take this over that. I would listen to this over that one.
But yeah, this is just a weird record, and I know like people were really divided on it. Obviously, I mean, your hardcore metal fans, they fucking jump ship. Yeah, as soon as they heard the first song, you know, like that's it.
Yeah,
you know, like oh shit, I just wasted $10, you know, or
it's load and reload all over again.
Shit, back then a record was like $17.99. Who am I kidding? The dark ages.
Oh, I used to, dude. That's what we paid. I remember when I was buying cassette tapes and they were like $13.99. Those things were garbage.
Dude, even as late as like the 2000s, dude. When I walked into a record store and bought Parade of Chaos for $18.95.
Oh man, you should demand your $10.
I remember putting it in the CD player, and I was like, damn, I thought like this was going to be longer, but no, I remember
it's
that.
Still
like,
the record you listen to the most.
I like, yeah, and you know what? That's a really weird to tie into the whole ZAO thing, because if you haven't noticed, I can pretty much tie any band we talk about back to your band in some way, shape, or form.
Well, yeah, so Swan Song is kind of like ZAO's Parade of Chaos.
I think so, a little bit. I mean, there are similarities, you know, because there is like kind of this weird rock and roll thing going on Parade of Chaos, and you know, it's very similar in the fact that you've got like these, like look at a song like Killing Cupid is just kind of this weird, like, you know, out there, like really spastic, like weird drums, like, and it's a very like almost kind of rock and roll beat, but then you've got Dan over it doing what he has always done, and it's like you're just listening to all these different clashes of sound.
I told you we were influenced by Carcass,
right? This is Swan Song, baby. Yeah. But
kind of was at that point.
Yeah, that was
if I'm to believe the DVD.
But no, they're very similar, you know. You know, at least as far as like the idea of it goes, they don't sound identical, but yeah, it is very similar in the sense that, like, except for I kind of feel like the band really believed in this.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, wasn't that? I think I thought I read somewhere that Swan Song was originally supposed to be their major label record, because like what Heartwork came out, and then it did so well that like Columbia released it after it was out or something, and then Swan Song was supposed to be their like Columbia Records debut, but something happened with it.
Yeah, well, I think at one point they even suggested to Jeff Walker to take singing lessons, which be really interested to hear what that would have sounded like.
Yeah.
It's weird too. Maybe he actually has an amazing singing voice, and like they would have put this out with him singing over it, and it would have become like really big. Like we would have all still been pissed off because they were death metal before, but like that, if he would have started singing over some of these songs, it almost seems like that would have fit better than what we got. And I have no issues with his vocals. I love the way Jeff Walker sounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
It's kind of like, you know, it's kind of, he's just got this like pissed off, like it's almost like a weird continuation of like Dave Mustaine's Megadeth snarl, like that really sarcastic sounding, you know, but like taken to the next level, you know.
Actually, I heard somebody maybe today when I was listening to Heartwork, somebody said in the YouTube comments how it sounds like Dave Mustaine with angrier and like, yeah, it was weird. It was really
it's a lot more cigarettes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, this record is just so goofy, and like
this has Rock the Vote on it.
Well, you need to rock the vote, Joe. I mean, Jesus, look at where we're at. But anyway, yeah, it's just weird. Like, and it's weird because I actually enjoy some of the lyrics on Swan Song because they're a lot more straightforward than they were on the previous records, but I just can't get behind the songs a lot of the time. Yeah. And then that was it for Carcass, really. I mean, my understanding is they weren't even a band anymore when this came out.
Yeah, I think you're right.
They'd hung up their hats and they're like, okay, it's Swan Song, it's our last record. The end, good night, everybody go fuck themselves, we're out, you know? And it doesn't really stand up now. And it's weird, too, because this record actually spawned an entire genre of music for a little while called death and roll.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't even like the sound of that.
Well, it's stupid. Anytime somebody just comes up with some like arbitrary, you know, like, hey, this band did something different once, so it's a genre now. You know, like that's kind of dumb. But yeah, like Swan Song was just like, I don't know, like it's almost like recapitulation. I feel like there are a lot of people, because there's two types of people, right? When you buy a record, you're either the kind of person that buys a record and you're like, I really don't like this. I really wish I hadn't spent my money on it. And then you like move on with your life. And then there's people that listen to it. They don't like it initially, but as they continue to listen to it, there's a certain amount of purchase justification that kicks in, and everything that they're hearing and experiencing becomes okay. You know, like I'm actually really into this. You know, and don't get me wrong. There's a lot of records that really grew on me over time, and I sometimes wonder if it's that, but if it's some kind of purchase justification. But in this case, I just couldn't ever really find myself like going to Swan Song as like, I want to listen to Carcass today. Well, I'm going to listen to either Heartwork or Necrotism. Yep. And that's it. Until 2013.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we actually have a return to form, don't we?
Absolutely.
I'm very satisfied that Surgical Steel is labeled as a thrash record on all the major streaming platforms.
That's not far off the mark, especially these days. I mean, thrash has really come back.
Yeah, it has, dude. That's for sure.
And I'm all about it. I mean, I love death metal. Is still kind of like my prime go-to. But, you know, just hearing a lot of the cool thrash bands that are out now has been really kind of an experience, and seeing like a lot of the old thrash bands come back. We just did an entire episode on thrash.
It would have been a couple weeks by now.
My bad.
We did talk to Rob Rivera.
Yeah, Rob Rivera from Nonpoint, and that dude knows way fucking more about thrash metal than I do.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah. It's he like we got to the end of that episode, and him and I were having like a verbal pissing match of like who can throw out a more obscure thrash band and stump the other one. But
did he know ZAO?
I didn't throw ZAO out because I don't consider ZAO a thrash band, but
we try to do some thrash here and there.
Yeah.
Is he into like the new bands that are trying to do that, like Power Trip and stuff? Like,
he talked about some of that stuff. His whole thing, we talked a lot about old thrash on that episode, but he's definitely a guy that like is a treasure trove of info, and I know he's like aware of a lot of the newer thrash bands that are out. We actually had a little bit of a resurgence in St. Louis. We had a bunch of local thrash bands for a while.
Oh wow!
And then that's crazy because we're not really known for our metal here, and it just kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I think if I was paying enough attention, I think a lot of the old punk bands that we used to play with in this area, like 15 years ago, like they have like gotten older and become like the thrash bands.
Okay,
which
makes sense.
You know, the natural order of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Surgical Steel, a huge nod to British Steel by Judas Priest, I think really captures what Carcass was all about back in 1993. You know, I think this was their like, hey, we're back, and we have to prove that we are still, you know, because you can't come back in 2013 and be like, all right, guys, here's a Swan Song again. We're still not totally into metal anymore, but we're back because money, 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 you know?
Well, do we have a complete return, all original members, or?
I think it was just the 3 original dudes, wasn't it?
Well, I think the drummer's different. You know, I mean, Jeff Walker and Bill Steer, I mean, if you don't have them, you don't have Carcass.
Yeah.
But
well, who was the drummer?
Dan Wilding was the drummer on Surgical Steel.
Okay.
And I'm trying to remember the old drummer's name.
Wasn't like
Ken Owen.
Wasn't the drummer
Owen.
Like Ken something?
Yeah, Ken Owen.
That's it. Okay, cool.
Yep. And he actually had some kind of like problem. Like I think he was originally gonna be on the new stuff, but had some kind of accident or something. Like he was physically unable to do it, which is really sad. You know, like you know, you want to be the guy that continues on with the legacy that you kind of helped create, but sometimes shit goes south. You know.
That sucks.
But this record's interesting too from a modern perspective in that like I don't think it's all that different than like a lot of the melodic death metal that's out now. but it still has that Carcass feeling. Like it has that legitimacy to it, to where you're not listening to some shit that's just like derivative of other bands, that have come out at that time. Like they didn't fall victim to being influenced by what they influenced, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. No, that's totally, because that's always on the minds of bands that do that kind of stuff, for sure. Yeah,
and they've been touring on this record for a while. I know a friend of ours, Joshua Toomey, on his podcast had he had Jeff Walker on. I guess it's either in 2015 or 2016, and he was asking him, like, what are you guys planning on doing, after Surgical Steel? And Jeff was just like, well, I don't know. This record's doing so well, I kind of don't want to abandon it yet,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear. And, I've heard it back and forth. I mean, sometimes in interviews he'll say, well, Surgical Steel was just a one-time thing, but we don't know if we're going to do anything else after that. And then, like, 2 days later, it's like, Bill Steer says working on new ideas with Jeff Walker, and you're like, oh, okay.
It's another one of those. It'll happen when it happens.
Yeah. And I'm not a tabloid man, so it's not like I really, like, take too much stock sometimes in what bands say, because they're telling the truth, whatever the truth is at that moment. And things change so quickly. You think you're on top of the world, and then you come to band practice one day, and, like, two of the guys are like, yeah, we're quitting. So, like, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I've dealt with that way too many times, and, like, it's just not cool. But yeah, I think I'm really interested after hearing Surgical Steel, because this sounds more like almost like a mix of necrotism and Heartwork.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, where it's like they definitely make sure to spend enough time on the, like, balls out, like, death metal fury that they had back on necrotism, but there's so much solo work and so much more of that, like, emotional approach to everything that it definitely has that sheen, but it's not like, I don't think it's as good as Heartwork, and I don't know if that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely is a record that I'm going to go to whenever I want to hear that era of Carcass, because before I only had 2 records that I really loved, and now I've got 3, which is really cool to have. And I just hope that they pull something out of their ass, because it's been 5 years now.
Yeah, that's a good time for some new stuff. But like you said, I'm really happy with that one. So I'm glad they're kind of like, I didn't realize they were going to keep playing it out. That's great.
So is that secretly your final thoughts, Dan?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's hard to talk about a band like Carcass, because, like, you have so many highs and lows. You've got moments of, like, absolute greatness mixed with this, like, garbage can shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, like, really hard for me to, like, to really make the connection that this is the same band. The same guys that wrote Carnal Forge are the same guys that wrote Genital Grinder. I mean, just, like, really let that sink in, like... And then to turn around and be like, yeah, well, this song's called Keep On Rotting in the Free World. You're like, what? And they're like, no, we're just kidding. Just wait, like, 2 decades and we'll be back to doing that again. Do you got final thoughts, Joe?
I think Carcass is a band that I love to listen to, as long as I don't have to listen to the first 2 albums.
But
they are very much the definition of death metal, or what a lot of people would think death metal is. It's nice to get a new record 20 years later that reminds us of how we discovered them in the first place.
I think you guys both summed it up well, but yeah, I agree. I mean, Heartwork was like a completely pivotal record for me. I personally know how hard it is to just write songs. So when you write ones as good as that, I mean, I guess you just kind of have to not think about it and just keep writing and having fun for yourself. So it's nice to see a record like Surgical still come out so long after Heartwork and still make me feel as good as some of those songs do. But Heartwork is legitimately just such a legendary record that I don't think they'll ever really top it, but I don't think they have to top it. I don't think it matters. I think just like I don't think Metallica's ever going to top Master of Puppets either, you know. But
I don't know, man. Hardwire was pretty damn good. It's not better,
I guess,
but it's pretty damn good.
Now, how is ZAO going to top the Well-Intentioned Virus?
I don't think we're ever going to. To some people, we haven't even topped Blood and Fire, so who cares?
Oh, whatever, man. Liberate was like 10 times the record that Blood and Fire was. But that's just like my correct opinion, man.
I know, dude. I do wonder if like people like that, because like for me, I feel like I was talking to Russ about this the other day. Like, I don't think we have ridden that good of a record yet. Like, I think Well-Intentioned Virus is the first one outside of the Fear that I'm like super proud of that I can listen to, but I still feel like, oh, the good one's still coming. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know if like a guy like Bill Steer or like Walker, if those dudes are like, oh yeah, you know, people think Heartwork's so good, we'll just wait till we do this thing. I don't know how like
Right.
for me, I just don't think we've written like a complete record until now. I'm hoping that we'll eventually get that complete record, but I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I mean, you know, like Well-Intentioned had kind of the same. It kind of hit me the same way that Surgical Steel did in a sense, because like I thought Awake was cool, especially when I got it. You know, I mean, I ordered the T-shirt and the CD and everything, and you know, I was all about it. But then to hear something like Well-Intentioned come out, I mean, yeah, it was a long time after, but like. I mean, there's something magical, man, about getting the record, you know, on vinyl, you know, which is the first ZAO record I had on vinyl, and you know, being able to sit down and read the lyrics, you know, along, because I do that. I'll sit there and listen to the record.
I do too. I'm the same way.
And just kind of get behind it, you know, because I've never read any of Dan's lyrics and been like, what the hell is he going on about here, you know? There's always so much deep, like. Just a lot of shit, and like some of it I have to wrestle with. Like I have to sit down and like really think about it, because with ZAO at this point, I don't really like try to figure out necessarily what the songs are about, because I know it's usually something really personal that like unless I have inside information, I'm not gonna like really know. So it's easier for me just to kind of wrestle with the concepts and kind of shoot them around in my head, like, you know, how does this idea make me feel, and you know. How do I relate to this to what's going on with me? And sometimes it's hit, sometimes it's a miss, but you know, but that's what I really enjoy about it, is just that. And I felt the same way about the new EP. It had a very strong like Well-Intentioned vibe, because I know those weren't new songs. I mean, they were essentially like, and I mean this in like a respectful way, but like leftovers from Well-Intentioned.
Actually, the host that bared its teeth was supposed to be on Well-Intentioned Virus, and for some reason, time constraints, we just decided to leave it off. But that was totally that one. And what was the other one? There were two off of that EP that we really wanted to get on the record, but it just didn't fit. So,
Gotcha.
like, literally, that EP is it's an extension of the record to us, kind of.
No, it's definitely cool. I mean, I've listened to them together, and I actually made a Spotify playlist where I just inserted those songs into Well-Intentioned, and
nice.
that was kind of cool, because you know, a little bit longer of a burn, because I like a solid hour of music, but that's like, I think in bands that I've been in, I think, how long was our album, Joe? Like 32 minutes? Like, wasn't, you know, it's hard to put that much shit out and it actually be good without you just throwing shit in there just to have it there, you know. And but no, I mean, I definitely felt like Well-Intentioned was totally like that big album. I mean, I feel, you know, and I know your guys' feelings on Funeral God and everything, but I mean, even that record was like kind of one of those, like, okay, they're still around. They're a little bit more commercial than I'd like them to be. And it's so funny because like Well-Intentioned was like literally the polar opposite of that. It was like, okay, we're going to go back to, you know, like we're going to go back to like doing what we were doing before, but without all the like clean, you know, like
pretty perfect
over
stuff. Yeah.
Because I remember reading a lot of the reviews for the EP and them being like, "Oh, the production quality, blah blah blah." And I'm sitting here listening. I'm sitting here listening to this on this vinyl record. I'm like, this sounds fucking great. Like, I can't, you know, like, because to me, bad production, it's got to sound like reek of putrefaction.
Yeah,
for me
that's bad to me too.
Yeah, like it's got to sound that bad for me to start being like, well, you know, they should have spent more time and money on a, you know, on a better studio or whatever. And it's like, you know, metal records are supposed to sound dirty.
Yeah, I don't want I like when it kind of, I want everything to be heard, but I like how it all like kind of gets kind of smashed together. Because like, to me, like, well, even like if you listen to Heartwork, like the drums and the bass and the guitar together make the heavy hits. It's not like, I don't want to, if I hear everything perfectly separate, like it's not going to hit as hard to me, but whatever.
Right. Well, it's the same reason like when you guys play the Rising End live, it hits 100 times harder than it does on the record.
Yep.
You know, just because it's like so punch, you know, like just punch you in the face heavy, and that's probably how it was originally written. And then you go into Magic Clean Studios or whatever, and it's like, okay, plug directly into here. You know, like there's something lost in that translation.
Yeah, you definitely need to have a little bit of that dirt all through everything in order for it to really hit good to me. So
absolutely.
I didn't know the Split EP got remastered last year.
Oh yeah, did I not tell you about that?
No, you didn't.
The split without. Well, that's old, ZAO.
I know, but I got a purchase to make.
The record label that. Well, I don't think you can. I think you can only purchase those digitally, right? Like the what was it? It wasn't Takehold Records. It was Steadfast.
Oh yeah,
Steadfast re-released those, which that really came out of nowhere. But what I hate about it is that it shows up. It shows up as if those were the newest ZAO releases.
Yeah,
and they're not.
Yep.
Quite the opposite. Oh, actually, I just listened to.
Dude,
I found.
Are you ready to go to bed?
I'm getting tired, man. I'm sorry.
Oh, dude, I'm with you. It's cool. It's cool. I'm right there with you.
But yeah, about that ZAO podcast, you guys should definitely do that. I think I posted on your Facebook the other day. I was like, you know what we really need is just like an official ZAO, like the official podcast for ZAO. You know, like a podcast that you can go to and you know that you're getting like the actual info. You know what I mean? Like the actual story behind the band, because like there's still so much misinformation out there. Like, I mean, even we did it, you know, when we did our first episode, because we didn't know, because we wouldn't have had, you know, the opportunity to know the, you know, it was all hearsay. And so like the idea of like an official ZAO podcast, we're like, you know, I know you guys are busy, so it's like coming on and doing that weekly is probably not on the table, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, I love podcasts, and we have so much fun when we're together talking. So it's like, if we could record our van like talks when we're like out, one, we'd probably all be in jail, but two, it would just be funny. So like, and it's fun. You like see like how, like, I think really the biggest thing to me is just like how close of friends all of us are. Like, bands always are. I mean, they have to be, because you're kind of forced together to kind of live with these people. But genuinely, like, every time we go out, dude, we all love hanging out with each other.
That's cool. And later in life, that gets harder and harder to do. You know, like I joke around.
Like doing ZAO is kind of like our excuse to get to hang out with each other.
Well, that's with me and Joe in the podcast. You know, it's like, it's this thing I can throw out like as this legitimate thing that we do, even though it's really just us wanting to hang out, you know, like, and we get to talk to
all the bands are.
Yeah, we get to talk to a lot of cool people on the way, and I think that's what we need to do next time if we do something ZAO related on our future episodes. We have to bring some of the other guys on, and
oh, dude, yeah, that'd be so much fun.
Well, I've been wanting to ask Dan to come on to do one, but I know he doesn't do a lot of podcasts, and he's been on 2 as far as I know. Well, 3 now with that Tooth and Nail one, but
he has like him and his wife bought a new place, so I think he has a little easier time doing things at night because the house is a little bigger and he can find places to go. So
gotcha. Yeah.
So it should be able to be worked out for sure.
Yeah, I just have to figure out what band to talk to him about.
He would be incredible. Him or Jeff would be great to do a Grateful Dead one.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
but it would be like made, and you'd be on for like a month. with all their records. What else does Dan? I mean, but
yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean,
well, and I thought Dan about Carcass, but I was like, I kind of feel like that's like you only know one thing about a person, and then you're like, let's go talk about that one thing. You know, like I think a lot. Like I think a lot now. Who do I want to actually talk to for 2 hours, 3 hours, or whatever? But it not be just like this weird. I don't know, like this weird like. Tell me about so I don't want to just pull somebody on to talk about some superficial thing, or some connection I think that a person has to something that they don't actually have, or so that's
Dan's a big Butthole Surfers fan too. That would be cool. Butthole Surfers. Who else does he like? I mean, he likes so much stuff. Clutch. Have you guys done a Clutch?
We have
yet?
not done Clutch.
Not yet.
Oh, dude, Clutch
definitely on the list.
Be awesome.
Yeah. Really cool. But yeah, that's something we can try to work out at some other time. But yeah, and Jeff, definitely I feel like that's going to turn into a Rob Rivera situation, because I feel like he knows way more than
Jeff, he knows so much crazy stuff.
Yeah.
He's a big thrash dude. He was telling me he's trying to work out possibly doing like drums in Broadway.
Oh, nice.
And he found out that one of the drummers that he would be, if he got it, he would understudy, was in this what was that band called? Defiance? It was early 90s. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's cool. We have a weird obsession with drummers on this show too. We always call drummers up first almost. I think you were the first guitarist we called. It was just
awesome. Yeah. Drummers are cool, man.
They are. Well, and Joe's a drummer, and he does all the work, so I think he has a little bit of
I'm the drummer and the guitarist, dude.
Nice.
There you go.
Recording engineer, mixer.
Well, Scott, thank you so much, man, for coming on and doing this with us again. That was so much fun.
Oh, dude, it's a pleasure for me to be able to talk to people, especially about Carcass.
Right. Well, next time we call you up to do this, it's going to be Morbid Angels, so
okay,
prepare yourself for that.
Actually, dude, have you listened to that new Morbid Angel?
I haven't gotten through it yet because
don't listen to anybody. Just go listen to it. It's super, super good. Everybody, some people are shitting all over it. I thought it was awesome. I was so happy.
I'll definitely check it out.
All right, gents.
All right, man.
To bed I go.
Yep. Get some sleep, man. We'll talk to you later.
You guys too.
All right.
Thank you.
See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And on that note, this has been episode 48 of Discography Discussion. Thank you for listening. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at discussmetal. Subscribe to our podcast everywhere you listen to podcasts, including Google Play, iTunes, and Stitcher. Visit discussmetal.com for all things discography discussion, and please send questions and comments to danandjoeshow@gmail.com. If you are not a patron, you can become one at patreon.com/discussmetal. We have some sweet perks. Huge thank you, Scott Mellinger, for doing this again. You can find ZAO online at Facebook and Twitter. And I don't know what to say there.
It's all good.
The preacher said